Hello, my fabulous social media friends. Welcome to Bridging the Gap, the domestic abuse YouTube channel, changing how we view and discuss domestic abuse. You can also listen to this as a podcast on SoundCloud, and I'll put a link to that below, just down there somewhere. I'm Robert S. Wells, the Director of DABS, Domestic Abuse Business Support Limited, and today I want to continue the discussion about how to talk to your employees about domestic abuse. If you haven't seen video number 1, you should watch that before continuing with video number 2, this video. Once an employee has disclosed that they are experiencing domestic abuse, they should be encouraged to do the following. Participate in creating a personal safety plan with trained community professionals for time spent outside of the workplace. So a home safety plan, which DABS do provide for free on our website. And again, you can find the link to that down here somewhere. They should be encouraged to share ideas with the employer on making changes to increase safety for everyone at work, including threat assessments, safety planning, and risk management. They should contact a local domestic abuse charity to get additional information and support. No matter how terrible a situation sounds, victims of domestic abuse are more likely to downplay their situation than to exaggerate it. They also tend to understate their fear. Take it seriously if someone tells you about an experience of domestic abuse or if they express fear. Very importantly, you should avoid giving personal advice. Domestic abuse involves the perpetrator taking control away from the victim, so it's important not to engage in the same kind of behaviour, even when the intention is to try to help. Rather than giving advice, you can provide support, information and contact details for community resources and trained professionals. Unfortunately, any personal advice given may actually be unsafe, since you'll only know small parts of the story that your employee feels comfortable sharing with you. Another common piece of advice given to victims is to just leave their partner, but telling them to leave a relationship before they're ready and importantly have safety measures in place can be dangerous. Statistics show that a victim is at greatest risk of murder around the time that they leave or are preparing to leave an abusive partner. So let's talk about dealing with frustration. Helping someone experiencing domestic abuse can be difficult and frustrating. Victims may not explore the options you suggest, which could cause you to experience what we call compassion fatigue. Remember that domestic abuse involves the perpetrator controlling the victim and taking away all of their power. It can therefore be difficult for someone suffering abuse to leave a relationship. There are many reasons why a victim might stay with their abusive partners, including the following: financial dependence, a lack of suitable housing options, religious or cultural pressures, and social stigma. Some remain because they love their partners and want to support them to heal and to change. Victims may stay while making personal plans to more safely escape a relationship, or may have assessed that staying is better for their children or is safer than leaving. They may have a physical disability and be dependent on a partner for care. The employee's partner may also be making threats about having them deported, killed, or they may be threatening to commit suicide if the relationship ends. If you become frustrated while trying to help a victim of domestic abuse, remember that it can take time for someone who has experienced abuse to feel empowered. Your support is important and can make a real difference. Domestic abuse services in the community can assist you with managing this issue and with supporting your employee. So, what if your employee is actually a perpetrator? Well, this section is of particular importance in situations where particularly both the victim and perpetrator are your employees. Please remember, if you feel unsafe starting a conversation with someone perpetrating domestic abuse, contact a professional for help. Safety should always be your primary concern, and you should never put yourself or anyone else in your organisation in a situation that seems unsafe. You may become aware that an employee is using work hours and/or equipment, such as telephones and emails, to harass a partner. If your employee makes threats or commits acts of violence in the workplace, it's important to take immediate action. First, take steps to ensure the safety of the workplace. If your employee confides that they are being violent at home, or you otherwise become aware that your employee is abusing a partner, you might try the following. If there's immediate danger, call the police or worksite security. Reinforce your organisation's accountability measures for abusers in the workplace, as outlined in your domestic abuse policy, if you have one. If you don't, contact DABS and we can help you with that. Be direct about what you have seen, but please avoid making judgments. Point out that you are talking to the individual because you are concerned about both parties in the relationship and, of course, any children that they may have. Now, a really important note here, if you suspect that a child is at risk in any way, you must take immediate action. You should contact your local council, the NSPCC, or the police. You should make a note of the date and time of the call and the person that you spoke to. This can be done anonymously if you wish. You need to state that this behaviour needs to stop. Explain what actions your employee must take according to company policy and the consequences if such steps are not followed. Refer your employee to professional community or workplace resources, such as your employee assistance program, if one exists. Don't force the employee to seek help and don't argue about the abuse. Keep communication open and look for opportunities to help or connect them with community resources. You could open a conversation by saying the following. I appreciate you coming forward with this. There are community resources with counsellors that can help you. Would you like me to connect you with them now? Is your partner hurt? Do we need to get them some help? I'm concerned. It's clear that you feel a lot of anger and tension over this. What can we do to make sure nobody gets hurt? It doesn't have to be this way. You can get help. There are other people who have been where you're at and can help. Would you like me to call a counsellor now? Point out that you are not qualified to help directly, but can help your employee to connect with trained professionals. Remember, keep the personal safety of yourself and your employees at the top of your mind. And do not physically intervene in a violent situation or try to mediate relationship issues. Now finally, safety versus stigma. Unfortunately, there is still a lot of stigma around domestic abuse. Most people are uncomfortable talking about it, including those who are experiencing it. As an example, male victims are widely recognised as being 3 times less likely than women to report their abuse. To encourage domestic abuse victims to come forward, employers, supervisors, unions and HR departments should work together to increase confidence in workplace support, to decrease stigma and to encourage general discussion about this prevalent issue. Open discussions about domestic abuse decrease the risk for everyone in the workplace. If your employees feel comfortable bringing forward information about potential threats or violent behaviour, then employers and co-workers can be better prepared to recognise potential risks and prevent a workplace incident. Remember, a person who is separated or is thinking about separating from an abusive partner is at greater risk of being murdered. I hope this video has been of some assistance to you. Do please like, subscribe and share. If you have any questions, please do comment below. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me and have a great day.